Welcome once again, Gerald Brown, another edition of In the Paint, right here, heavy in the paint. Gerald Brown, flying solo as always. And you know what? I'm calling all my friends, and this is a gentleman. I call him a brother from another mother, the little brother, if you will, even though he's taller than me. He's done great things on and off the basketball court, and more importantly, his commitment to young people in the city of Memphis is amazing. Legendary NBA player, one of the greatest point guards to ever play in the NBA. Also happens to be one of the talented college basketball coaches, Mr. Penny Hardaway. Coach Anthony Penny Hardaway.
My man G, what's happening, man? I appreciate the introduction. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start paying me for this stuff, Penny.
I will.
Introductions and stuff like that. And I want to ask you just first and foremost, this has been an experience that I think, if anything, I want to go back kind of in the sense that, as a player, that, we're witnessing a young man in Lonzo Ball who's going through a trial and situation of, really having knee problems and not being able to stay healthy. And you experiencing that situation in yourself. Have there been any situations where you look at it and kind of advice, or do you think he's doing the right thing by really not trying to push himself and kind of making sure that he fully heals?
Yeah, I would definitely say that he's doing the right thing. I mean, ultimately, he wants to finish his career on a high note. Unlike me, I went right into trying to get back on the court, staying on the court injured, and made it worse for myself, where I ended my career earlier than what it should have. I know that he makes a ton of money, and it looks bad to a lot of people that he's kind of sitting out. But if a guy's in pain, you don't want him on the court anyway. And he's definitely doing the right thing by waiting. The same injury that I had in 2001 playoffs against the Spurs, Tim Duncan sat out that entire series with that same injury and then finished his career on a high note. And after the surgery that I had after the season, while playing through that injury, that pretty much ended my career, that last surgery that I had in Phoenix. So for me, I think Lonzo Ball is doing the proper thing by sitting out.
Yeah. So that's definitely some great advice that you have for Lonzo and stuff. And then going through this whole situation, and Penny, and knowing you as long as I've known you, and I think then again, correct me if I'm wrong, if I say the assessment of meeting you, obviously you were still in that situation, felt like you were still kind of finding something that replaces, that desire to play the game and having the game taken away from you. How difficult was that? Even though you didn't really talk that much about it, many people thought that you just walked away and left everything, but you kind of just lived your own life. You're a very private person. But if you will, talk about just really the struggles of dealing with this can't play anymore, even though the desire is still there.
Yeah, it's a heavy struggle, depression, just not being able to get over the hump and understanding that your career is coming to an end because of pain in your body. And then also being judged by peers as if you're faking an injury or that you're not really hurt and that you didn't have love for the game anymore. All those things were going on at the same time. And man, I really drove myself into the ground trying to give the love to the game, back to the game. No load management, no resting, just really trying to get through it the best way I knew how, and that was being out on the court. And man, it just really ended my career. So after doing that, just riding off in the sunset, just hated it. I don't think I really ever fully officially retired. I think I just walked away from the game and was like, man, I got cut by the Heat, and that was my last NBA game, and that was it.
And obviously in meeting you, it just always seemed like you tried to find things to replace it. And it seemed like the love for golf really was something that, again, really gave you that. Would you say that now in coaching, that's kind of, has replaced that desire of the player? Because you're as close as you could possibly be to the game itself now.
Yeah, golf definitely replaced it for a while because, if you play golf before, you can never defeat that game. So every day you go out, it's a new challenge. And now with coaching, it's the same thing. Grinding every day, studying every day. You can never know enough. Recruiting is always interesting and fresh. So for me, it's those two things are definitely taking the place of, playing the game, even though I miss it still. But those two things are definitely taking the place.
Yeah. Is there ever a player, Penny, in today's NBA game that you look at and say reminds you of yourself, that you see parts of your game? Because, prior to this interview, Big shout out to Skyzoo, hip hop lyricist. Skyzoo sent me a text, and he's big fan of yours. And you've been mentioning music and all that stuff, but he told me about a YouTube video, and I was watching your college performances and stuff like that, and just seeing the plays and just how fluid everything was for you, even to the NBA. Do you see a guy, or have you seen someone in basketball from the college to the pro ranks that you look at, and sometimes it might take you back and you see parts of your game in that?
Um, Maybe small excerpts in the Mellow Ball, some in Jason Tatum, some in maybe Halliburton. In some cases, the way he moves out there, but it was the vision, it was the speed, it was the athleticism, it was the post ups. This today's game, man, is so dynamic. But I was actually dynamic back in my day for what I did. But I posted up a lot. So I mean, those taller guards that are being dynamic, that are finding people and doing their own thing. I think those are some names that come to mind. I know I'll probably think of someone else, but I just respect the game so much. But those guys are the guys that I look at. They're like, man, the way that they control the game on the offensive end.
Yeah, and Penny, when you look at your game and seeing it all that you accomplished, and it just seems like it just took off. Because I've always argued, and I will continue to argue, that I think you're a Hall of Famer. In fact, I don't think you are a Hall of Famer and stuff. When you came in the league, obviously taking that transition of being a rookie, but when you took the reins and stuff like that, and even watching some of the clips, like you dunked on Big Sam Mitchell, man. I told Sam, I said, Samuel, why you dunked on Sam like that? You were one of the few guys still in NBA history that you didn't back down from Michael Jordan. Why were you so comfortable and but more or less confident in playing against MJ?
Yeah, first of all, I'll talk about Sam. I must have caught him on a back pedal because normally Sam would have knocked me out of the air. So I won up my man because Sam was a hard playing dude, and I think I shocked him to get that dunk. And he worked with me at Memphis for a year, and we talked about that all the time. But definitely a guy that I respected. For me, it's how I was raised, man. We didn't fear anyone. We respected everybody, but feared no one. And when I got into the league, I wanted to go at the best, and MJ obviously was the best. And I just wanted to show him, almost like to show him that I could play and compete against him was what I really wanted to do more than anything. But I was never scared.
Did he ever say anything to you during those battles? And was there ever anything? Because obviously you ain't gonna say too much, just like you giving props to Samuel. But I'm saying I could say it to Sam because Sam. I think Sam, my cousin, and stuff like that. When you dunked on him, he was like, "Oh," and then pushed him on the ground and stuff. But in those conversations, in those battles, aside from the fact is customary talk and anything like that, but did you ever say anything to MJ, or did he ever test to see how confident or mentally strong were you?
Yeah, he definitely tested me, but he knew right away that I was a ball player. He respected me for that. He never told me because obviously in the art of war, you don't tell your opponent how good they are in the middle of the war. But he would tell everyone else, and I would hear through the grapevine, through the Nike reps and guys that we both knew that he respected my game and said that I could really play. So I knew at that point that I had did what I needed to do when I competed against him, and that's basically what I wanted to do, is to go out there and show him that I could ball.
What did he say when he tested you?
What did he say? What?
When you said he tested you, what did he say?
Oh no, he didn't say anything. You could just tell the energy that he had on defense. Trying to guard me and trying to be more physical. And I was used to that anyway, just from like I said, growing up in the hood, of how the old school cats would just be physical with you. So I was already well prepared before I made it to the NBA. He didn't say much, but you can just tell in his energy that he was trying to shut me down and make me bow down to him. But that wasn't going to happen. We were going to compete. I was going to compete for sure.
Now, and doing that and looking back, Penny, do you ever just look back? And obviously some of the stuff I already know the answers to, but just in a question of the fact is that, one thing that has always amazed me about you is your level of humility. People just, again, you're just such a humble person, and you really care about people and stuff. And I think that's what kind of one is, and thinking is too slow of a process. But I know that's one of the qualities, that characteristics, I should say, that make you such a great coach at this level in the college. why this humility and stuff like that? Because why such being a humble person?
I think it's not forgetting where I came from, man, and how blessed I am as an individual to be where I am. I never lost that. Got lost into the energy of superstar or fame. I stay grounded because I trust God and I thank Him for putting me in a position. So that's just how I've always been. The fame never made me change. I always wanted to stay genuine, stay humble, and greet people and meet people and talk to people and be very approachable. And that's who I've always been.
Yeah. Now, coaching and stuff at obviously your alma mater, and you've had a ton of success, and just seeing all the things and knowing that you get pretty much involved in the game, i.e., that's why you threw that water bottle last year and stuff like
Don't
that.
bring up negative stuff right now,
I'm
G. No
sorry.
negative.
I'm
No
sorry. I'm
negative.
sorry. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You still my man. I love you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You threw the water bottle. But what have you learned, Penny, in just this whole process? Because so many people doubted the fact of the matter is when you went from coaching middle school to high school to coaching college, a lot of people thought that you couldn't do it. I thought clearly you were the right person for the job. But what have you learned more so about yourself in this time frame being the head coach at Memphis basketball?
Yeah, I've learned that you have to believe in yourself because it's going to be so much stuff going on negatively around you, and people are going to question everything about you. Me, I'm just a basketball player that knows the game really well, that needed to be organized. Obviously coming into college basketball, the organization and to build a culture, you have to have some good guys around you. You have to be a hard worker. All those things I was already accustomed to doing, just outworking everybody, waking up early, going to bed late, making sure I did my homework, make sure I studied, and doing things of that nature. But coming to this level, what I've learned is that you just have to truly believe in yourself and block out the noise, because the noise will try to make you feel like you can't coach, you can't recruit, you don't belong.
Mhm. And Penny, when you look at what you've been able to accomplish and stuff like that, and obviously, who's been some of the people that you obviously have taken from your game, and would you say you're still a student of the game now?
Well, I lean on guys like John Lucas. Obviously, he's been a mentor of mine for a lot of years, even when I played in the NBA. I talked to Avery Johnson some about the game. Um, those two guys come to mind right away. Trying to think if there's anyone else, but just veteran guys of just wisdom um, that they just kind of instill in me about staying humble, staying hungry, and never losing sight of why I'm here. And never doubting, why I'm here. So at the end of the day, those guys. I know there's been other guys, but even Coach Leonard Hamilton from Florida State. When I see him on the road, I'm always trying to get a nugget. And obviously, I talk to all the big time coaches on the road. Even when Coach K was still a coach, and Coach Izzo, Coach Self, all these guys that I have crazy respect for. Just always talking to them and just asking questions about how they feel about certain things, and what's going on with their team, and do you have these problems and how have you handled them before? Because I'm always going to have my glass half full, so that I'm always learning.
How much of an adjustment has it been, Penny, with COVID and the COVID year, the extra COVID year, but now, you know, exclusively recruiting through the transfer portal? I mean, clearly you pay your dues and you work very, very hard. How has that adjustment, if you will, been for you? And talk about really the adjustment in terms of now more so coaching out of the transfer portal than opposed to going to see high school kids, and which used to be the normal recruiting process.
Yeah, it's amazing. The what used to be the norm is not anymore. You used to try to go get high school kids, get the number one recruiting class in the nation, and go and compete with young kids against older teams. Now it's a transfer portal, and it's changed right in front of our face. My first 2 or 3 years, it was all about young guys. My last 3 years, 2 years, this is my 6th year. It's been about the portal and getting older guys, getting older, because it's hard to win with all young guys. So for me, talking to an older kid that's already been in college, when he's gotten to that point, he's wanting to get to the league. That's my pitch about, getting to the NBA, getting prepared, and not only doing that, but being developed to go there and then having a style that fits these guys to be able to play in.
Yeah. How much of it mean? How much in the recruiting process and dealing with kids is it so important to stay in shape for you? because I see you on Instagram. You always just working out. I don't know. I think you opening up a Zumba studio somewhere down the line because you always in shape. And I'm like, just come on, man. You aging backwards and stuff like that.
Man, no, I appreciate it, brother. It's just, to me, it's a pride in being an athlete and wanting to continue to look like an athlete. And obviously, when you're going out in the recruiting and you're in shape, the guys understand how serious you are. Because a parent said to me before, man, you're serious about what you do still at your age, then that helps me understand that you're going to take care of my son. And I respect that a lot, because I do try to, carry myself in a fashion where it doesn't look like I just said, forget it, and I don't really care. I'm done with sports, and I just want to let it all go.
Just let yourself go.
Man, that's what happens right after you get done with all those line drills, all those sprints, all those suicides, all those miles of running. When you get done, you're done. It's like, I'm done.
Yo, very little people would probably know close to you are hilarious though, man. And I know again you had situations, some situations and stuff, but you are hilarious and stuff. But the biggest thing is that you look at these kids, how much in coaching and now dealing with human behavior has caused you to come out, because you're a private person, but you're in the space now. You got to deal with kids on a consistent basis. How much of that has been an adjustment for you? And especially now, you have both of your sons on that team. How much of an adjustment this year thus far has been for you?
It's been a huge adjustment, obviously, because I got 13 new players, and then one of those players is my son, Ashton. Got my oldest son, Jaden, back for one more year. So it's been pretty cool also as a father to have both of them on the team. It's got to be really weird for those guys going into the locker room hearing guys complain about me, and they're my sons. But at the end of the day, I'm taking it all in. But it has been different because you're taking on the challenges of new personalities every single year. You're starting over. You're never getting any kind of rhythm with the same group. And that's why you got to get some freshmen. That's why you got to get some young guys and try to build a core. But for the most part, you're going to have 5, 6, 7 new guys every year.
Yeah, and doing so, and just I said before, I think that is such an amazing thing, because you're coach and dad all at the same time. And there's only again, obviously Deion Sanders is in that similar situation. And I often say, Penny, you're kind of the trendsetter, because you had sort of cups of coffee like Clyde Drexler coached at one time. He couldn't get his fade or his Jerry curl back at University of Houston, but he went and coached University of Houston. But obviously it was just always a cup of coffee. But you've come in, and I think you were the trendsetter in terms of NBA players, former NBA players coming back, coaching in college. And obviously, we witnessed Jerry Stackhouse and even recently Damon Stoudemire, although Damon has had some experience coaching at University of Pacific out in the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you feel about the fact of the matter is you kind of being the trendsetter of now currently? It's a good thing to have former NBA players being college coaches.
Man, it's a beautiful thing for me. Obviously, I took over from my alma mater and was very proud to do so. And then to see Stack come in, to see Jawan come in, and then now Damon, like you said, he was already at Pacific, and then he went to the NBA. Man, it's a beautiful thing because it's just giving so much knowledge to a group of young men, not only as basketball players, but as young men that are going to grow older, get married, and have families. And it's two-sided for us. It's not just being a coach. It's been a mentor. It's been a father figure to the guys on the team. It's been a friend. It's been a listening ear. It's been everything. So for me to be pretty much out of this group, to be kind of the first one to kind of do it on a major level, it's really good to see those guys. I root for those guys. I try to give them, positive words in the summer when we're out recruiting, and sometimes reach out to them through phone to just, encourage and just, congratulate them, because it's really a beautiful thing with former NBA guys coming back to either their alma maters or, we're just coaching on the college level, because I think that's a great thing.
When you look at the coaching aspect, and obviously dealing with behaviors and stuff, human behavior, and dealing with young people, and being a private person and stuff, do you think that this has forced you to step out somewhat of your comfort zone? Because again, you got to go talk to these young men and interact with them, especially I imagine on the recruiting trail, you're almost pretty much signing autographs. So you're like an attraction when you're going there to recruit. How do you handle that?
Yeah, it's just to me again, just being humble, just understanding the game, understanding what these young men want out of the game, and just kind of giving them their sales pitch about that I can develop them, I can get them better, and give them a platform out on the court, man. That's my biggest thing. Yeah, I'm kind of out of my comfort zone at some point with the recruitment, because you have to, if you really want the kid, you got to go above and beyond with texting, calling, FaceTimes, and doing all the necessary things. Going to see the kid, and you may have to do it with multiple people, and that's something that is really tough, but it's definitely worth it because you get to know the kid and his family, and to see if you want to proceed or if they want to proceed, and it's just all a part of the game. But yeah, it's been fun though for me still, so it hadn't been work yet.
Yeah. How surprised are you? Do you ever take a step back? And I know I've asked you this before, and I couldn't. I think that we were in Orlando one time. Um, do you ever step back and amazed and how beloved you are in so many cities and so many fans and stuff like that till still to this day? I mean, people just loving you for the basketball player and now the coaching stuff like that. Do you ever just take a step back? And I know you're not a self-centered person, but do you ever just take a step back and marvel in the fact of the matter is how big you pretty much you still remain in the eyes of how many fans you still have?
Yeah, I take that in, man. Every time that happens to me, no matter what city I go to, I thank God for that, because man, I thought about this 20 years ago. I was like, what will happen if you're no longer in the NBA and you're walking through an airport, and they always talk about people don't know who you are. Well, I haven't faced it yet, because everywhere that I go, people understand and know who I am, whether it's from the coaching at the University of Memphis or from my career, and they're fans. So that makes me feel really good that I left a lasting impression on people, to where they still like me as a basketball player and now also as a coach. So I take it all in, man. I don't take any of it for granted.
Yeah, they probably look at you wearing them corduroy pants in the summertime at the airport with them creases in them corduroy.
No doubt.
But again, before we wrap up, Penny, and again, really appreciate this. Your sneakers, obviously, in so many circles and stuff like that, perhaps one of the all-time greatest selling sneaker behind Jordans and stuff. Are you ever amazed that your sneakers are still relevant? And again, so many different things being that popular. Are you still a part of that? And what does it mean for you to introduce your sneakers to now another generation of kids?
Yeah, again, honor be to God for that opportunity. And then secondly, Nike. Nike has done a phenomenal job of keeping my legacy going. And that's just, I mean, being a sneakerhead, being a guy that loves sneakers my entire life, to have my own signature sneakers out there on the market, still doing really well. Like you said, second in sales behind Michael Jordan. I mean, come on, you can't ask for much more than that, man.
Yeah. How many pairs of sneakers you have, Penny? You own?
I can't even count.
The ballpark figure.
About 500 pair, maybe.
500.
Maybe.
That's in your office. Stop that. Why are you sitting up there? You got more
Not
than
500.
five. But I know you give a lot of pairs of sneakers
I
away.
do. I give a ton away. So I can't. I just start there.
Yeah,
That's the minimum.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Penny, I've always appreciated you, man. Love you, man.
Man, same here, my man. Love you, and I appreciate you as well.
And all that you do, man. And I definitely, want the best for you. Definitely look forward to seeing you. And like I said before, man, always take this all in, because again, bigger things are yet ahead for you. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no doubt, my man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you as well.
Penny Hardaway. He gonna talk about the next time them corduroy slacks he be wearing.
No doubt.